start off where all communication begins, and that is at the beginning, which is where you meet someone, and how to make an excellent, really good, powerful first impression. So let's start off with this. It was a research project done by Dr. Albert Maharabi in UCLA. It was a 16-year research project, and they discovered when you meet someone for the very first time, several things happen that determine whether or not it's going to be a good or a poor impression. How long do you think it takes before someone has an impression of you? There are literally, these numbers are written in stone. What do you think? 15, right on. 15 seconds. Now notice, the impression does not come first when you meet someone or someone meets you. What happens is this, we're all guilty of it. You walk up to that person or group of people, and what happens is while you're walking towards each other, within 15 seconds, you check each other out. That's what you do. We're all guilty of it. You do this real quick. Boop. So first comes the checkout. The moment you check them out, you start judging them and asking yourself questions about what you just saw. Do they look like someone? Do they remind me of someone? Do I like what they're wearing? And so on. Between checking them out and the judgment, when you combine the checkout and the judgment together, that creates the impression. So it takes 15 seconds to make a good first impression. By 15 seconds, they already know whether or not they like you. If in 15 seconds you make a major blunder, you now have 4 minutes to recover. Now it's different for me today. I'm very lucky. Anytime I mess up or blunder today, I have all day to win you back. Right? But sometimes that's not the case, correct? So now notice, in psychology there is a term, I want to test you. In psychology is a term called selective perception. Who knows what that means? Yes, you do. Don't be shy, we're a small group. All right, selective perception means this. Once I made up my mind about something, once I believe in something, I keep mentally searching for evidence to prove I'm right. And anytime you or someone else comes along to challenge my belief, you're wrong. Therefore, if you blunder the first impression, which takes how many seconds? How many minutes do you have to recover? While you're working so hard to win me back, guess what I'm doing for those 4 minutes based on selective perception? Guess what? I'm looking for more things that I don't like about you. Yes or no? Right? Which means, how hard do you have to work in those 4 minutes? Harder than you've ever worked, especially, I mean, just it's off today's subject, but especially if it's for a job interview. Especially. You've got to work so hard for those 4 minutes, and chances are you're down the tubes already. Chances are. Based on what I'm about to show you. In the first 15 seconds, when someone meets you for the very first time, or you meet them, vice versa, it takes 15 seconds, and in 15 seconds, 55%, which is over half. I know you know that, I want you to hear it. Over half, 55% of the first impression is based on how you look. Which is what? Look, let me show you with my fingers. Visual. Visual. People talk about how important communication is. Communication is not important. Body language is important because 55% of what they see goes into their neocortex. Now, look does not mean how sexy you are, although that has a small pinch to it. A small pinch. Look means how well you carry the whole package. That's what look means. You know as well as I do, you've all been in the same experience. You've been with someone that according to today's standards is super sexy. You sit down with them in a couple of minutes and they're empty. Right? On the other hand, we've been with people that maybe according to today's standards aren't super attractive. You sit down with them, they have something so beautiful coming from their soul that it shines from inside out. So 55% does not mean, oh, how good they look in their cologne or perfume. 55% means the whole package, how they carry it. 38% of the first impression is based on how you sound. Now, this has nothing to do with if you have a speech impediment, that doesn't count, and it has nothing to do with your dialect or an accent. How you sound means, are you whiny? Hello, is this West Virginia University? Hello? Are you monotone and talk like this to people? What's your voice? Hesitant, rushed, nervous, monotone, too high, too low. And this is my biggest problem in the early days. I mean, my anniversary was in August. I've been presenting seminars like this for 16 years now. And way back again when I started, I was this fresh, young guy, fresh out of Staten Island, New York, with the Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx dialect. Which if you think is bad now, you should have heard it then. And I'd get up, yo everybody, West Virginia, my name's John Jacobsen. Today, welcome, this is a good class on communication and gonna have fun. And meanwhile, I got the 55%. Yeah, his shoes are polished. But 38% is automatically down the tubes. Hold on to your seats. You're not going to believe this. 7% of the first impression is based on your words or what you say. And by the way, when you go for a job interview, what's the one thing you rehearse the most? What you're going to say. It's going to get you 7% of your job. You want to get your foot in the door. You get lucky enough to find out the person that's going to interview you, what are their favorite colors. Wear those colors in. When they visually see that, you're already in the door. Because 55% is based on a visual. Okay? Now hold on, I want to ask you one more thing. This is a bonus. You get no percentage for how well you listen. Nothing, get nothing for being a good listener. Yet, in communication, they say, oh, it's the most important thing is to be a good listener. See if you know why. This is a trick question. This is true research, but it's a trick question. What do you think? Nobody? Because in 15 seconds, they can't tell how well you listen. They can't tell, right? Takes a little bit longer, but some research